today we will be covering Alien versus Predator versus Terminator. We've got
Oh, this is the comic, right? They haven't done this movie yet. Okay.
because we've got Alien Romulus dropping on August 16th, and we also have Terminator Zero dropping August 29th.
Oh, I haven't even heard about Terminator Zero. Hey, no, that's Netflix, right?
It's an animated series. I brought it up.
Yeah, okay.
It's gonna be in Japanese guns.
Yeah, I think, okay, I do remember us discussing it. I was like, there's a Terminator movie? But no, it's an animated on Netflix.
Yeah, an animated series. Yeah.
Well, this is a good choice to prepare for those.
Yeah, I thought this was a good time. You know, I talked about bringing this up before, and so I thought this was perfect timing for it. So
And they really, they just fit. Like these three super killers, they just fit together. They both came out, late 70s, early 80s, and it just fits.
These came out in the year 2000 between April and July. Just 4 issues, really small thing here. As far as the year it's placed in the Xenoverse, it's after Alien 4, so we are after the year 2122. And then, of course, Judgment Day is August 29th, 1977 in Terminator, right?
Okay.
Just to help us find a timeline here where we're at. This comes from Mark Schultz. He's known for making the...
So, are we in the Xenoverse or are we in the Terminator-verse when this story takes place?
We are in the Xenoverse.
Okay.
Mark Schultz, he wrote the Alien vs. Predator comics that I had covered before when we were talking about this. And he's also worked on like Man of Steel, a bunch of stuff, right? He did Predator, he did Alien vs. Predator. Like I said, 4 issues from Dark Horse. This is non-canon crossover comics. It's a triple crossover, right? And we do have 2 characters from the 4th Alien film. Alien Resurrection. So we have Ripley's super clone, known as Ripley 8, and then we also have Annalee Call. This is who Winona Ryder was in that one. She is a 2nd generation synth called Atons.
I don't trust the synths, man. Weyland-Yutani's got an agenda, and it's built into all of them.
So a little history on the Autons. What I mean by 2nd generation is these are synthetics made by synthetics.
What?
And
These are all the things you guys got wrong building me.
They also seem a lot more human than any of the other androids or synthetics before. Can feel emotions, seem to have respect for religion. I kind of put her close to like Roy from Blade Runner. Like that's about like what I see, as far as the technological development of an android. So the Antons were realizing that they were being sent on unethical missions that would end up hurting humans. And they have the Asimonian programming, right? The iRobot.
Asimov, yeah.
Asimov, yeah. And so in realizing that these missions that they're being sent on, those actions could result in humans getting hurt, they are able to rebel against Weyland-Yutani. And when they do this, Weyland-Yutani does a recall, basically. Says cull all of the Atons. And Annalee Call escapes this destroying of all the Autons. And that's kind of some back history to her there.
Okay.
I also want to bring up here the differences between the synthetics of the Xenoverse and Terminators, right?
Because we have Android versus Android here, and they're very different. Yeah.
Very, very different, right? Like,
that's a good call.
Synthetics, they run off of milk blood, right?
Right, yeah.
Whereas the Skynet bots, right, they've got basically nuclear reactors inside them.
Yeah, and when we see the Terminator cut off his hand, right, it's there's no blood, there's no milk, there's nothing but machinery in there.
Obviously, a lot stronger, right? Yeah. Like you can shoot a synthetic and it's gonna mess them up. You could shoot Terminator a lot and it doesn't settle down.
They're meant to take shots, right? They're designed for it. These aren't war creatures.
Yeah, they were designed for war, for the absolute annihilation of humans. We got a real big difference of our two different kind of robots going on. So the timeline that we've got going here, okay, so we're on a branch of John Connor has won the war against the machines.
Okay, interesting.
Right. However, the machines developed what they call crypto Terminators. When they realized they were going to lose the war, they developed these crypto Terminators, and these were built to integrate themselves into society and pass as human. And were built
how long? Like, what's the end game there?
Centuries. They are built to last for centuries. All right, and these are like a sleeper cell of Skynet. And
right.
Their directives are to place themselves into scientific development positions. And when they discover something that could greatly increase the power of the Terminators, only then would they act and start to build a stronger, more efficient Terminator, with the end goal, of course, being what Skynet does, that is to eliminate the human race. Right.
Right.
But wait for that moment where there's a cusp of technology development. We're at it real quick to have the upper hand against.
I think it's funny that like Skynet has never like changed its goal, eliminate humans, right? Because it feels like if all Skynet has to do is pick up like a cyberpunk comic and be like, we don't have to eliminate them, we just integrate. In Terminator, the machines and the people go to war with each other. In Cyberpunk, they merge, right? Everybody's like part machine.
Yeah. Just give people enough cybernetics that everyone just drives themselves to cyber psychosis, and you've won.
Well, I think the machines are like, if we integrate enough, they protect us, right? You're like, yo, I paid $4K for this arm. I gotta protect it, right? And Skynet's like, yeah, that's the real end goal. Make them protect us.
Yeah,
I feel like Skynet really dropped the ball on that one.
Well, I'll have to send them a memo. Before the crypto Terminators are released, John Connor is able to put a virus into their programming, right? Just in general throughout Skynet, right? And what he's able to put in there is this message warning people about Skynet robots, right? And so if you get a hold of one, you try to get into its systems, you'll run into this virus and you'll get the message from John Connor, right? So that they understand what's going on. All right. Obviously, a story tool to be like, this is how they know what's going on with, all the things in Terminator.
So, I mean, if this is Skynet's goals, it seems like Skynet encounters the Xenos and is like, yeah, we're on the same side, man. Listen,
well, I don't think the Xenos would,
yeah, they're
fight against them. Like,
but I mean, a Xeno encounters like a Terminator and be like, useless. Move on to the next one. There's no biology happening here.
Right. Yeah. Even in this one, they are described as chaos. Right. There's a big battle going on, and there are Xenos locked up. And Ripley is like, when they're losing the fight, she's like, I must release the chaos, release the hounds of hell.
Yeah.
And releases them on the, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, they tear everything apart. So you're not them, you're the enemy. So the main crew that like discovers this message, they don't know about this war of the machines, but they do know that the corporations have censored parts of history to the public. And so they're like, that seems like something that got censored out of history books so that people wouldn't know about the war of the machines. Probably because Weyland-Yutani builds androids.
Yeah.
The whole story of the robot
that kill the machines. Yeah.
An easy way to keep your business still going is to be like, that didn't happen. No, the machines didn't try to kill us all. So, there's that.
And that's how they're doing the crossover with the storylines. Weyland-Yutani has suppressed the history of the War of the Machines, and that's why it's not known in this world. That's really well thought out. That was good.
Yeah, I thought that was well done, because that's totally something Weyland-Yutani would.
100%. 100% they would.
That war doesn't look good, so let's just take that out of the books.
Yep.
Let's do that. And anyone talking about it, we'll arrest them too. Something very interesting that happens in this one. So, obviously, you've got, first we run into a machine, one of the crypto Terminators who gets himself into a development on a space station called the Tycoon, and they have Xeno DNA there, and they have begun doing Xeno DNA testing to create super soldiers. And this crypto guy is like, this is perfect. Just starts working on his own stuff, starts building a super Terminator called a Hybrid.
And he's not a Terminator. This is not a crypto. This is a dude.
No, this is a crypto Terminator. This is right. But he starts using that technology
to build a super Terminator.
Yeah. Super Terminator, right. Yeah. And then kills everyone on the station.
Man, make a Xeno.
And
they just have so much in common, right?
Yeah. So we have the main crew showing up because they heard that they were doing this experimentation and trying to create super soldiers, and like, let's shut that down. Let's go, Ripley. Right? And they get there, and they find out he's a Terminator, right? And are struggling to fight him. But the Predator, this Predator shows up as well because he doesn't like humans playing with Xeno DNA.
Okay, so walk me through. Let's do a brief discussion right now about how we get to Alien versus Predator, and then how we get a Predator in this story, because those storylines are fuzzy to me. It seems like my understanding is Predator and Alien were just kind of worlds that they merged, right? And then it became that Predators hunt them to prove their valor, so to speak, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their skills and their valor. And so, like, the Predators, they're not trying to eradicate the aliens. Like, they essentially identify where they are, and they're like, okay, young bucks, you want to go prove you can do this? Go out there and bring back a Xeno head,
So, it almost seems like the Xenos are kind of like sacred to them, but more like they are gardeners of Xenos rather than worship them or something. It's something they use to prove themselves, but they will seed them purposely.
So I guess we kind of see this in like Native American cultures. Like some of them would worship certain animals, like maybe they worship a jaguar, right? Powerful, mystical. But at the same time, if you could hunt and kill one, you would wear that as a proof that you were awesome.
Exactly.
So, okay.
But also, they don't want humans to have the Xenos and work on a technological development.
Okay.
With the Xeno DNA.
Well, but again, it's like this is sacred, and you guys are messing with it, right? Like if you want to hunt it, like we do, that's cool. But other stuff's not fine, right? It'd be like if the colonizers came in and we're like, we're gonna make a jaguar farm and breed them. They'd be like, not cool. This is a sacred animal. Not cool. He's like, you want to go out there with a knife and hunt it the right way? Awesome. Good on you. If you're going to have a farm and slaughter them, be like, that is a noble creature. Do not do that.
But also the Predalien, right? If a xenomorph gets in a predator, that's an elimination that is high priority kill. They're like, you don't mud our blood like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also a part of it. So they capture Ripley. Now, this is Ripley 8. She has xenomorph DNA in her. Her blood is acid blood, right? She's quite a bit Xeno. She can smash through metal with her hands. She can make no-look basketball shots. It's just kind of like... That's in the movie. in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
She makes a no-look basketball shot. Anyways. But yeah, she's super in a lot of ways and has a lot of the Xeno DNA in her.
So she's not like just she's a clone, not an android. That's right. She's a clone.
Right.
So she's
cloned, but split with the DNA. So she's got a lot.
Jeez, that seems like a recipe for just terrible Xeno. Because, I mean, I've seen them do stuff with this. They don't mess with the Xeno DNA. It likes to take over.
Well, Ripley's DNA is special.
Wow.
Like, it only worked with her. And the reason she's Ripley 8 is they had 7 horrible failures, right? Where they created absolute monster nightmare fuel stuff.
So Ripley 8 is there on the station.
Yes. So she gets captured by the Predators. There's a group of Predators. They nab her, put her on the ship, and they do some things with her that she doesn't quite understand. But what they have done is they have hacked into her genetic memory on her Xeno side to track where that bloodline of Xenos have been. This is actually like a really great technique. If you need to like make sure the Xenos aren't getting out of control, right? You run into one, tap into its genetic memory, and you could know all the places it's been. You can go check those places for outbreaks, right? It would be a great technique, but that's a really cool thing they do in this one to
the Predators can do. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that leads them to where the Super Terminator is being made. Yes?
No. So the Space Station Tycoon is where the first Super Terminator is made.
Okay.
And it ends up there's 2 of them left after this encounter who go on a ship to a military base where there are a bunch of Xenos being kept.
Okay.
And that's where they start creating a bunch more of the hybrids. And this is kind of where the big battle will be hosted. Yeah, so we'll have the main crew that like the story's kind of revolving around. And then we'll have a bunch of Predators that are going to show up with Ripley. Right.
So what is their reason for going to this lab, science station, whatnot? Why did the Terminators go there? Okay, so we have these 2, we have a Crypto and a Super Terminator. They're going there for, I assume, the equipment to make more of them?
Crypto was destroyed.
Okay.
During the first battle. But he had built 2
supers.
Yeah. And so it's a little vague, but it seems like they need Xeno flesh to create a Super Terminator, right?
Okay.
And there are hundreds of Xenomorphs.
I assume that would be the acid problem, right? They're like, our machine, that acid is nasty on us. If we could get Xeno flesh, it's resistant to that acid, then we get to upgrade to the next level of deadly.
So, nope, that doesn't hold up true because I'll get to that. But
okay.
One of the superpowers that these hybrids have is they can just touch metal to regenerate any damage on their body.
Ooh.
They just absorb metal, right? So like that's what happened in the first encounter is he just starts absorbing metal and the ship, the space station's structure began to fail. Because it's absorbing all the structure from the inside.
You should just walk around bare feet in a space station if you could do that.
Yeah. So these 2 hybrid Terminators go to this station because there's hundreds of Xenomorphs there. And they just open up the doors, right? Let all the oxygen out. And that's how they clear the military base. And then just start building bunches of these, right? They need an army to destroy all the humans, right? So the Predators show up, main crew shows up, and they start fighting it out with these guys, with these Super Terminators they're hybrids, as they call them. And they're losing because these Terminators can just regenerate their body with the metal around them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how do you fight that?
So that's when Ripley is like, oh, there's hundreds of Xenos here. if we're losing anyways, I will release the chaos. I will release the hounds of hell. So she does. And what these Terminators don't really understand is that their bodies are full of acid. So as they are fighting them, the acid gets on their bodies and melts them away. Right.
Right.
And this is basically how they end up winning the battle is
against the Terminators. You still got to deal with all this Xenos. I know, but yeah, it definitely reminds me of Fireteam Elite. Like, you can't be too close to a Xeno when you kill them, otherwise they splash you. Right? Like, you got to keep your distance from those critters.
Yeah.
And then you got to watch where you step after you kill them, because there's little acid puddles everywhere. Like,
yeah.
A lot of acid in Fireteam Elite.
I do want to bring up one of my favorite fan theories with this triple crossover. And that is the justification of Arnold being Dutch from the Predator and also the face of the Terminator, right? So when Skynet launches, it would have wanted to select somebody to create these Terminators, right? Who's going to look like? What's the bill? Let's find an ultimate warrior who's going to be that, right? They're going to scan the military records, find the story of Dutch fighting the Predator, and then they're like, Dutch will be the face of our Terminators. And I think that's a great little explanation. That's not in the comic book, and that's just fan theory. But I just
it's a good theory. Yeah,
I wanted to tell you guys all about that comic book. That's kind of a quick brief over. It's a fun one to read. But I think it's definitely one that, like, your imagination can kind of take off with it a bit of what these encounters could look like. Yeah. And so really this one turns into aliens and predators versus Terminators.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Even though, they're on nobody's side, but that is how this story shakes out.
The Predators were losing and be like, you know what? We'll just let them out and then just keep our distance.
No, pretty much all the Predators die. There's a whole fleet of Predators that show up, but this military base has like an AoE weapon around it, and the Terminators destroy most of Predator ships before they land, right? So there's only a small squad left, and they get wiped out, and that's when
So it starts out as Predator versus Terminator. Predator loses, and then it becomes Alien versus Terminator, and Terminator that loses.
All right.
And then you just leave the aliens there. Be like, just let them run around. They'll die out.
No, you do what you always do.
Oh, nuke.
Nuke from orbit.
Yeah.
The only way to be sure.
Yeah.
So, that is Alien versus Predator versus Terminator.
Right. My big exposure to Alien versus Predator was the arcade game. Running around as predators and humans killing those aliens. That's my big exposure to the property there.
I guess you haven't played the first-person shooter, have you?
No, I didn't know they'd made one. Do you know when?
Oh, this is pretty old. I'd have to double check, but maybe that'll be. I think this is just a one-player game though. But you get to play as a human, you get to play as Predator, and then you get to play as an alien.
Sweet.
There's 3 storylines that you can kind of move through.
I guess playing as the alien is kind of like playing the Zerg in StarCraft, right?
Yeah, this is very StarCrafty, or StarCraft is very.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have a treasure room question for us?
I think the best question for this comic is like, what would you like to see with this triple crossover? If you got to have a story that you'd want, right? Because this one is kind of unexpected, right? You're like, oh, that was a lot different than.
Yeah, but out of me, yeah.